What is up, fellow Mandalorians? We've just got a brand new trailer for Season 3, and there is a ton to talk about, so I don't want to waste any time but get straight into the breakdown, especially a certain intriguing scene that I would love to know your thoughts on as well down in the comments below. But let's get right into this. So initially in this trailer, we pick up with Mando saying that our people are scattered like stars in the galaxies, which of course is true. If you've been watching the past few Mandalorian seasons, you know that there's various creeds of Mandalorians out there, those who might take their helmets off, such as during the time of the Republic, where we saw a lot of that during the Clone Wars. Obviously, Bo-Katan Kryze is a perfect example of that, or the Night Owls, or whoever. But then, of course, we have those who took the creed during the more dark times, during the Empire. And that is those who do not remove their helmet. And if you do, well, it's the ultimate blasphemy. And of course, that is what Mando / Din Djarin has done in the past. And as he says in this trailer, he has to go to Mandalore to be forgiven for his transgressions. Now, something else that was fairly obvious to note in this trailer is there wasn't so much Bo-Katan in it compared to previous trailers, but we do see some of the Mandalorians, the Night Owls, and they be looking badass. But we also can see some other clans present during these scenes at this part of the trailer, such as this Mandalorian's clan signet from the clan Eldar, but they're likely united in following Bo-Katan Kryze, uniting maybe some of the more clans out there, especially given the events that we've seen during previous seasons. I do wonder if this is a bit of a prelude to what we actually see later on in the trailer on Navarro 7, where a lot of action unfolds. We also get some great shots of the old Naboo N1 starfighter, and we also hear from Mando likely saying to Grogu that being a Mandalorian is not just learning how to fight. You also have to know how to navigate the galaxy. That way, you'll never be lost. So it seems that Din Djarin / Mando here, with the message in the trailer and what is somewhat trying to get across, is taking Grogu through definitely more of a Mandalorian apprentice vibe in his little foundling mode, if you will, more than ever before, which makes sense given that when we last saw Grogu with Luke Skywalker in the Book of Boba Fett, if you somehow didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett, I mean, I know how that kind of turned out, but there was obviously a little bit of a season 2.5 going on there with Grogu and Mando. And he was presented, Grogu that is, very symbolically with a life path choice of what he has to go down. Choose the lightsaber or choose the Beskar chainmail vest, and he symbolically chose the way of Din Djarin and in turn the way of the Mandalorian. So I think Din Djarin's mini lesson and advice here is to play along that trail of what we're going to see, and that is Grogu learn a little bit more about the Mandalorian way in his little foundling mode. I'm not saying he's going like full on Mandalorian or anything like that, or there's going to be literal lessons, but it does seem like that's a little bit more of a focus, especially considering after the events of the Book of Boba Fett. We then see Mando and Grogu visit Greef Karga on Navarro 7, a place where the change of the New Republic seems quite visible. I mean, we see melted stormtrooper helmets here, we see an IG-11 droid leg on top of it, which is pretty cool. So it could be more than just a leg if you look closely, which, as I said, is pretty cool because it could be a tribute to the IG-11 droid who sacrificed himself during Season 1, and he's kind of standing on top of all of these stormtrooper helmets. And of course, you get to see a little lizard monkey here, why not? And we then get to see Mando's N1 starfighter head into some pretty bad weather in this next scene. Now, some people are, and I don't blame fans, it's easy to get carried away thinking that this could be something like, what if they're going to Camino? But if you compare this to the other trailers, it's most likely Mandalore, as in those other trailers, you see this kind of bad weather, stormy situation through the clouds, but when the N1 starfighter breaks through, you then break through that kind of storm and it's a bit more sunny in the ruins of Mandalore. So then we actually see the great remains of Mandalore itself, of which was absolutely obliterated by the Empire. We can't forget that last season we saw quite a brief flashback to the Night of 1,000 Tears, in where the Empire absolutely massacred the Mandalorian people. Now, even though it's mostly destroyed and the Mandalorians were massacred, as we know, they lived on. And there's a couple of different creeds out there, and it's kind of cool to think of what surprises could still be there for Din Djarin, or perhaps maybe what Mandalorians could be there underground. I mean, I doubt it. I mean, there could be one or two, some kind of old relic Mando just sitting in a cave, but likely not. We know that Bo-Katan is on Mandalore, and we'll be talking about this a little bit later. Very briefly, up next, we get to see Peli Motto and the R5 unit now feature in the trailer, as it seems that Mando will have another pit stop with her on Tatooine. Interestingly as well, Mando is flying away in another scene, and notice how it looks to be Tatooine still, just given the similar architecture of the buildings, but there's fireworks going off here, so I wonder if this is a part of the episode where Mando stops off at Peli Motto's place, and as he's flying away, there's fireworks for some reason, perhaps due to something he did that the people of Mos Eisley want to celebrate. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is when we see Coruscant in the trailer. Now, this is after seeing it in Andor as well, which is obviously a much different time where the Emperor took over the Jedi Temple, the ISB were in full swing, but Mando is obviously post Return of the Jedi, so it's as the New Republic are extending out their branches, if you will, slowly but surely, and for that reason I can't wait to see what a different Coruscant looks like, because if there's going to be anywhere to have more of a New Republic presence, they would want to monitor the previous HQ of the Empire. But most interestingly here, guys, we see Dr. Pershing in a transport ship. Now, if you remember, he's been extremely helpful with Grogu in Season 1 and helping getting Grogu back in Season 2. Now, obviously, it's hard to know what he's doing on Coruscant, and I don't believe that this is the same outfit he was wearing previously, but notice he has like a new little pin there, so this could be a hint as to what position or what he's doing right now. If you have any theories, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Maybe he's going to some higher figure in the New Republic, maybe they can use him in some way or another. But then we see Carson Teva talking to someone saying there's something dangerous happening out there, and by the time it becomes big enough for you to act, it will be too late. Now, I'm very, very intrigued to see just who he is talking to here and what danger he's on about. Now, we know that the First Order happens eventually, but perhaps that would be a bit too early to spot now. But if he's warning of something dangerous happening out there, he might be telling someone high up. Perhaps we could see Mon Mothma again, but in this time, perhaps with the same actor, but I really don't know about that, or any other of the pillars of the New Republic. But whoever it is, Captain Carson doesn't seem to think that they'll act now when they should. As he says, by the time it becomes big enough for you to act, it'll be too late, somewhat inferring that, hey, why aren't you acting now? Or if you don't do that, it's going to be too late by the time you realize that there's something to do about it. And don't get mistaken, by the way, with the way the trailer cuts, because instantly after this scene with Carson Teva, we see Mando facing the camera, but you can see it's an entirely different location that appears to be on Mandalore. We know this because we see in the other trailers the same room with Bo-Katan Kryze sat on the throne, where she says to Mando, "Your cult fractured our people. Where were you then?" We then see some underground locations, likely where Mando has to go as a part of his quest to redeem himself. We then see there's an old Mandalorian helmet that somewhat appears oxidized to an extent, in that it's been down there for a very long time, so likely the helmet from a Mandalorian who died in a night of 1,000 tears. It'll be cool to see if he picks up any armor pieces there, even though, to be fair, Beskar, like what he's got right now, is top tier. But then, ladies and gentlemen, we get a very, very intriguing moment in the trailer, in where we see a flashback for Grogu. Now, this is definitely a flashback to Order 66, because we see in the reflection of Grogu's eyes here the lightsabers of these Jedi. So it seems that we'll actually be getting this flashback to when he was taken from the Jedi Temple and escaped Order 66, something we've already known but never seen properly, nor have we even seen which Jedi saves him. So will this be some random Jedi, or will they save it for a special character returning to have that impact on saving Grogu's life, mixed in with maybe a little bit of fan service if they wanted to commit it to an already popular Star Wars character? I know people are going to say Mace Windu instantly, but I don't know about that, but maybe someone else. Let me know your thoughts. We can see the Jedi get in defensive stances as the door is being broken into. Now, some are speculating or wondering if this is a lightsaber like breaking down the door, and that's totally possible, but it could also be clone troopers just simply taking it down in a way that appears similar to a lightsaber cutting through. And why are we getting these flashbacks? Well, I don't think it would be induced by Luke or Ahsoka again this season to Grogu, so I think this is perhaps a dream sequence for Grogu, or I've got another idea in how Grogu could have learned the ability to actually show Din Djarin himself these kind of Force visions, maybe using a power to give Din Djarin the vision so he can fully understand from Grogu's perspective what went down. And that could be like a really sweet scene. Then we see a bit of a dogfight with some TIE fighters going after a single Mandalorian Fang fighter. So you could argue that this is Din Djarin himself in the ship, but it could be Bo-Katan or one of Bo-Katan's Mandalorians here. And it's just interesting once again to see the remnants of the Empire still trying to do their thing. As we've seen, the Empire is defeated, but there's still some popping up trying to operate in the shadows, if you will. And this also appears to be Mandalore to me, so it would be cool if when we see Bo-Katan scenes when Mando is on his way to Mandalore, before bumping into her, we could see her cleaning up some of the rats before she settles down into the throne room, even though whoever this is in this Mandalorian Fang fighter, they appear to be outnumbered. Now, some final shots of the trailer, we get to see Mando go to a cantina with a lot of droids in there. Always great to see the B-1 battle droids pop up. Then we get to see some familiar shots from previous trailers of Death Watch seeming to land on Navarro 7. The question is why? Some theories out there are that they're going to attack the town, but then again, you do see some aliens dead on the floor and they're all wearing a similar uniform. They seem like maybe mercenaries. Perhaps they're trying to come into the town to take over, but that is when they come in to save the day, which would be pretty awesome because we're going to get some more badass Mando action. And of course, they have to chuck an Anzelin in there, which is basically Babu Frick's species, so again, why not? And lastly, we see Grogu wreck this alien here, while Din Djarin seems to be taking a little bit of a nap in the background. And this is pretty cool because it will show Mando, not that he doesn't already know, but Grogu can really take care of himself. And I wouldn't be surprised if this scene continues with Mando coming to from being knocked out and witnessing the last moment of Grogu using the Force to beat his opponent. This could also be another trial that Grogu and Mando have to face while they're on that quest on Mandalore. And that's just about everything I think there is to go over in this trailer, guys. So overall, I'm looking forward to it. This looks to be piping up to be a really decent Mandalorian season. The drama of Mandalore, Bo-Katan, what's going to go on there. I think Bo-Katan is piping up to be the main adversary for this season, maybe a bit more of a complex villain. We have obviously Mando going to Mandalore to get forgiven for his transgressions. How is that storyline going to develop? And a whole bunch more. We got some Mandalorian action. So what is your favorite part of this trailer? Do let me know down in the comments below. Again, I'm a bit hyped. I am going to miss the more kind of in-depth Andor storytelling, but I am a sucker for the way Mando does things at the same time. Even if it's writing, it's my favorite show, don't get me wrong, but its writing isn't as on quality to me as Andor was, but it's still, I would say, more entertaining. Like, it's more broadly entertaining of a show. So guys, we'd really appreciate a like on this video. Do consider subscribing for more Mando content just like this. Links, as always, are in the description down below. Really, thanks so much for watching today's video. Hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. I'll see you fellow Mandalorians in the next video. Goodbye.